gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binaries of all ages, welcome to how to create a literal cat in your favorite RPG. If you came here to learn how to do character creation, you are in the wrong place because we're doing cat creation. This is how to create a literal cat in your favorite RPG. This week on how to create a literal cat in your favorite RPG, it is me, Joel, and your other host,
me, Austin.
And we are playing a game called Shadows of Esteren. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to pronounce it either.
It's French. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the podcast. You can really probably listen to these in any order. At this point, there's no shared universe lore or anything. We're just kind of recording a whole bunch of these back to back before we start publishing. If you want a quick peek behind the curtain.
Said you can't let them peek behind our curtain. They're gonna know our secrets.
I don't really have that many secrets.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, we are doing cat creation by trying to follow the character creation rules of our favorite RPGs, except we do break a lot of rules because instead of making the characters correctly, we are trying to play as cats. Like I said, we are breaking a lot of rules, but we also have some rules that we need to follow while we are doing this. First off, most importantly, we accept no cop-outs. We are making a cat. It's the exact animal that comes to mind when I say the word cat. It is the house pet. Not a lion, not a tiger, not a bear, not an anthropomorphic race. Bears aren't actually a breed of cat, whatever. No anthropomorphic cats, no Khajiits, whatever. It's a house cat. Just let's straight up house cat. Rule number 2, homebrew isn't real. If the rules do not explicitly allow something to happen, it counts as a rule broken. If we come across a situation where it's rules versus written versus rules as intended, we go with whichever one says no. So if the rules technically allow something to happen, but they were clearly intending for something else, then we are counting it as a rule broken. Rule number 3, if the game includes stats for a literal cat, like if we're talking like D&D's cat stat block, we have to use that. If it does not, then we have to try and then if we know of one that will sort of work, we have to use it as well instead. So This rule is mainly intended for D20 games, which this is not. This is not a D20 game, it's a D10 game. Honestly, the we have to adapt them from a game that does thing might end up being too much of a hassle to track down otherwise.
Yeah.
But anyway, the character class, background, book, or playbook, or job, whatever the game calls the character class thing, has to exist in the game's core rules or it's part of an official expansion. Homebrew classes do not exist because homebrew isn't real. If we use a completely homebrewed class, that would, literally every step of that would count as a rule broken.
Oh, yeah.
And it would probably be a lot easier to just work with an existing class.
Mm-hmm.
Rule number 5. The cat can learn any skill available to its class. For instance, the cat can be allowed to speak, but only if an argument could be made that a certain class skill makes it possible. The cat would also be allowed to, do anything else its class could do. We had a cat that was trained to seal away people's magic powers because within the logic of the world, it made perfect sense that somebody could teach a cat to do that. Rule number 6. If a tool would be physically impossible for a literal cat to use, even if comically downsized for them, they cannot use it. And finally, rule number 7, we actually have to keep track and calculate how many rules are broken at the end of every episode.
That's going to be fun to do.
Yep. This is a new edition as of this time, so the other episodes that were recorded before this one don't do that, which is fine. They'll get over it.
Yeah. It's always nice to do some changes, You can't have the exact same formula every time. But
I mean, it would be nice, but we are still kind of working out the format.
Humans like consistency, I know that. But do cats?
Depends on the cat, probably.
That's a question for a different podcast.
Yeah, or a question for your cat.
That's true.
Anyway, so, like I said earlier, this is Shadows of Esteren. If you don't know what Shadows of Esteren is, it is a French horror RPG that takes place in the fantasy land of Tricazel, where it's a world of magic, rough, beautiful landscapes. There's kind of an ongoing conflict between embrace the modern versus conform to tradition. There's a new line of research that the world has found that's like half magic, half science. That's called like Magience. It's a thing that your characters can do even given the right resources. The issue with this world is that there are kind of like eldritch type horrors that just live outside of the gates of your average city or town. While they cannot overpower like large groups of people living together, if you are traveling the roads, you are probably in a group small enough that you are in incredible danger from beings that you could not possibly understand.
Going out drinking on a Friday night.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I'll have to take your word for it.
I would barely know anything about that, so just my minimal experience.
And there you have it, folks. We're boring. Anyway. So, we don't really need to go through the entire process of the world building. We are focused specifically on character creation and how to do it wrong. So, step 1, according to my official character creation guide in the Shadow of Esteren Book 1 universe, which is the name of the thing. Oh yeah, we also were going to tell you the publisher of this. One moment. It's not listed on the cover. Does it tell me who published it? Just Agate RPG. That's who did it.
Awesome.
Anyway, we got that out of the way. This was made and published by Agate RPG. Check them out if you think this is cool. These guys also, I know, put on an incredible display at a convention, which is how I know about this game, just FYI. But anyway, let's get back to character creation. And step 1 of character creation is ethnicity. We do have a problem here, because the game assumes that you are going to be playing as a human. And it has you basically selecting the area of origin for your character, which is an issue for us, because that will determine certain things like, physical appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it, hopefully. But the issue here is we are playing as a cat, and cats do not have human ethnicities.
Cats are just cats, man.
Yeah, cats are kind of they're cats. They you know what a cat looks like. They're the little gray or orange or hairless little guys.
They run around sometimes in your living room, sometimes at 3 a.m. in your kitchen.
Yep, that's a cat for you. Now, I do have a few things. We have so far made all male cats.
Yeah.
I think for the sake of diversity, we need to have at least one female cat in this show, and this may as well be the episode to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that last episode, but then I was like, we're so far along in character creation. We just kind of go with the flow. I don't think we ever really pick like a gender or anything until it kind of forms. So let's pick this one right off the bat.
Yeah, we have kind of just like we even made one cat that was more likely to be female into a male cat.
Wait, which one?
The crap, I can't remember the legendary drop cat.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
What was that?
I think that was it was a calico. I think that was Pebblestar, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Pebblestar. Pebblestar, the cat who got its powers by being the only calico to be born male in a generation or something. I don't know. Anyway, so we could kind of use this to determine where in the world our cat is going to be from. So, we have the plot of the game kind of takes place on this one peninsula. So we could say that our cat is of the Tricazel area. They can constitute a very large majority of the peninsula's population. If you wanted to have another city cat, this would kind of be where a city cat would likely come from.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really any, like, specific ethnicity to the Tricazel region. They're kind of a mixture of everyone who has passed through. Then you got the Osag, used to relying only on each other. The Osags are a hardened people with a generally strong build. They are the direct descendants of the peninsula's traditional clans. The peninsular civilization has evolved a lot since the foundation of the Three Kingdoms, but some clans remain faithful to the ancestral traditions and did not take part in these changes. Retired within their clannish way of life, the Osags did not mingle with the other peoples and have kept many of their ancestors' characteristics. So, if you want, I'm gonna guess this would be like more of a country cat then.
Yeah, that'd be more of like
kind of
like a farmhand cat, you know?
Yeah. It sounds like these people kind of live in isolation. The Teresh. Of unknown origin, the Teresh people form a nomadic minority that has been traveling around the lands of the peninsula for decades. They are also called the people from the west, for they came over by crossing the Furious Ocean, according to legend. The Tereshes can be differentiated from the Trichazelians by their high cheekbones, their aquiline nose, and their often pale eyes. Many of them became entertainers, mystics, or craftsmen. The Teresh culture still rests on an important base. They are nomadic people used to long journeys, and their language did not disappear, although no stranger has ever learned it.
That's interesting. So like a nomad.
Mm-hmm. Then the people of the continent. Men and women from the continent are often slimmer and slenderer than the natives of Trichazel. Most often, they have delicate faces, but sometimes very sharp features. A character choosing this people will not be native from the continent, but rather a direct descendant of at least one continental parent. If the continental origins of the character reach further away, he is considered to be a Trichazelian. According to the paths of the player character's family and how it fitted into the Trichazelian society, he might have learned the language of continental origin, or a dialect of the peninsula if the player character wishes. I kind of think it would be more interesting to play as a nomad or a country cat.
Yeah.
Because the others kind of sound like, you know, your well-adjusted city type societies.
Oh man, it's kind of hard to pick because I like the kind of like farmhand cat deal because I have something I could base that off of. My grandfather is a farmer and he would have cats that would like follow him around while he, you know, did his chores. But a nomad cat sounds just so cool. Like a cat who has seen some shit, you know?
Here's the thing. We will probably have plenty of other opportunities to make a nomadic cat.
That's true.
The farmhand cat, you know, I won't say that we'll never have another opportunity to make that, because we probably will have plenty. But, I don't know. It might be the more interesting cat to play as.
I think so.
In this case.
I think it would. Just having, you know, because cats are typically secluded to like their own, you know, what's the word I'm thinking of? Domicile? Whatever.
I guess.
Their own area, you know, like a cat lives in your house.
Right.
Or generally around your house if you have an outside cat.
Yep.
So yeah, I think Osag, Osag, I don't know.
Me neither. It's okay.
But yeah, I think that's the good choice for now.
Okay. I do think we need to make a note of that somewhere that we did break a rule and that this is not actually a member of the Osag people, just probably lives among them.
Mm-hmm.
That might be one of those things that will need like a special like notebook for. One moment, let me just pull up
Let's say if you want to keep track of that on a Google Doc, I can keep track of the actual creation going on here. I feel like the not playing a human rule is like number one for most of the games that we're going to be doing.
You know, it probably will be a very commonly broken rule.
Yeah.
But that's fine. They'll get over it. So, that's step 1. Step 2. Professions, yes.
So,
after the character's native people have been chosen, he must be attributed to a profession. Man, this book just really assumes your character's gender off the bat. It can be his main activity or the domain in which he has been essentially trained during his youth, of his own free will or forcibly as the player wishes. Whatever his profession may be, this player starts with the social status of an apprentice or a novice. The leader has to decide with the player's agreement whether the players have already obtained their statuses or are still apprentices, a squire dreaming of becoming a knight, a young Ionthen destined to become a Demorthane, an Inceptus finishing his magic studies, or a young adept of the one god on his way to his acceptance. Players may start with the status of just Demorthane, Knight, or Scientor for Magiantists. Magians, guys. It's magic science. And they made up a whole series of language and words just for it. In such case, they will be novices. Therefore, a Demorthan PC will just be granted his status and his first powers. A knight will not be a leader of a fortress, but rather a fighter defending it, and so on and so forth. So, our classes are Bard, Craftsman, Demorthan, and the first two are kind of self-evident, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you've played RPGs before, you know what a Bard is. A Craftsman is, well, a craftsman. The Demorthan are representatives of nature. They can make contact with spirits and ask them to perform particular tasks. The Demorthan is the keeper of the ancient peninsular traditions and is often regarded with respect. Apprentice Demorthan are called Ionthen. Then we've got the Explorer, the Fighter, the Hunter, the Investigator, the Knight, the Magiantist, which, again, that's like you're a magical scientist.
An alchemist, you will.
Yeah, sort of. You could also be a merchant, an occultist, a peasant, a physician, a religious of the temple, a rogue, a scholar, a spy, a Varigal, and Varigal are travelers, messengers, bringers of news, but also packages, like the mailman.
Yeah.
You could be the mailman if you wanted to.
Yeah, we did that last episode.
Yeah. I think technically it was 2 episodes ago, but...
Yeah, 2 episodes ago. Whoops.
Oh well. Who knows what order I release these in.
Yeah, that's fair. Pulling back the curtain a little more this episode.
You know what? It happens.
Yeah.
And if we pulled back the curtain way too much, I can always edit it out.
True.
But anyway, any of those jobs sound good to you?
My knee-jerk reaction is to say peasant because, I mean, what is a cat? Like, can a cat really do any of these jobs? Hunter could work.
Maybe.
If it's like a farmhand cat, maybe, gets rid of mice, gets rid of like other pests, other rodents. I don't know. What about you?
I think if we're saying it's a country cat that kind of helps out around the farm, Hunter seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Then again, peasant is literally the thing. Whether he cultivates the land or raises animals, he takes part in the life of his community by feeding it.
Ah.
So if we're saying like it's just a straight up farmhand, it could either have the job, like you said, of keeping, like, helping defend the farm by hunting the small critters that would interfere with the crops, or we could just say, oh, you're a peasant, you work the fields.
I like the idea of hunter because I feel like it gives our cat a little more purpose. Gives her something to do rather than just kind of meander around.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's go with hunter.
Okay.
And let's move on to our next step,
which I think is birthplace. We need to determine if we've grown up in a more rural place or the city. We obviously want rural. Is there any kind of like guide on there, or am I gonna have to go looking through the book to try and find where the rural areas are?
You might have to go looking. Let me double check because it had a map. Did we find out where the Ogar people are from? What was it again?
The Osag?
Osag, yeah. Did we find out where those people were from?
Let me look and see if I can find it. I might need to go to the table of contents. I don't have a PDF for this one, so I can't just Control F it.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
You found something?
The Osag tribes in southern Talcare.
Okay, that's an area that we could look at then on the map that you have.
Mm-hmm. So we could do the land of Dias, the dukedom of Huali, dukedom of Salantir.
Let me see if I can find more information about any of those.
Very small place down here called the Record.
Huh. Let's see. We're looking at Talcare, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that starts on page 48.
Physical media. Flipping through an actual book.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. What is the actual The dukedoms are cities. So
Hmm. So maybe we want to go with like the land of Dios.
the lands of Dios are composed of Talcair's southwestern cape at the extremity of the peninsula. That region, much like its inhabitants' hearts, is hard to reach. The land is rocky, steep, and the landscapes have remained wild. The weather is turbulent there, and the lands are swept by northern and southern winds alike. So, yeah, probably a region where they would do a lot of hunting.
Yeah. So lands of Dios then.
Yep, I think that works.
All right. That.
Not just a country cat. Now, it's a mountain cat.
Mm. Place of residence. It gives us two options: rural or urban.
I think it's definitely urban, right? That's what we've been.
I don't know. All right. So rural, social class. So for these, let's see. Choose the social class your characters from. Once chosen, choose two domains between those available. They would both get a +1. So we have peasant, craftsman, middle class, clergy, and nobility. I can go ahead and little flavor text for them. So peasant, commoners make up most of the population. Put your life in a rural family, away from towns and cities without shunning them. You are closer to nature. Craftsman.
I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, because I couldn't see a cat being
Yeah.
anything other than that. So our two domains, we have a choice from 4. Natural environment, perception, feats, or travel.
I think natural environment, probably.
Yeah, definitely natural environment. Since it's a hunter, should we do perception? Looking out.
Yeah.
Age, minimum 16.
I feel like we're going to have to break this rule too, because what was the oldest cat that we saw earlier? 18?
18, yep.
With a more common life expectancy of 12. So I think you're just going to have to leave that at the lowest setting, and we're going to homebrew in that the cat is, I don't know, 4?
Yeah. Is it going to let me choose the lowest setting? It's giving me a little loading bar.
Oh no.
It's okay. I'll just bump it to 17 so we can move on.
Okay, that's fine.
Because no setbacks less than 21 years old. Oh, okay. So we don't have any setbacks to take care of. Next step.
Well, we might be older than 21 in cat years. Who knows?
That's true.
Now we're on to step 3, the ways. The 5 ways are mental characteristics that determine the major traits of the character's personality, his way of seeing the world and taking action. The ways will be of use to him in his daily life. For example, he will make use of his combativeness in every moment in which a strong pugnacity will be needed to overcome an ordeal. That's an interesting word they chose there. Anyway, the way of combativeness, the drive that leads to action, and the passion of living. The way of creativity, the ability to imagine, to give an original meaning to one's life. Inventiveness, resourcefulness. The way of empathy, the bond linking a human being to his environment, or a cat.
Yeah.
For example, Demarthen used their empathy to communicate with nature. At the relational level, empathy means the ability to feel the emotions of another person. The way of reason, rationalization, intellect, but also research and reflection. It shows the learning ability of a character, his curiosity, and so on. The way of conviction. Generally, a human being hangs on an ideal or principles guiding his life. Cats do this too, apparently. Some turn toward religions. Others abide by precepts of chivalry, while others follow a personal code.
One of the tips it's giving us here says the total sum of the ways must equal 15, and you must have at least one way with a rating of 1 or 5. So one of ours either has to be fully down or fully up.
Right, so this is kind of like a point by kind of system.
Mm-hmm.
I think the max that you can have in one stat to start with is 5.
Yeah.
So here's what the book says. Each character will have a rating in each of these ways, which shall be between 1 and 5, and will be qualified as a major rating, a minor rating, or neutral. So major is 4 and 5, minor is 1 and 2, and 3 is neutral. To have a high rating in way is not better in itself than having a low rating. Each type of rating implies different qualities and flaws. Where a high rating in a way will bring some facilities in the appropriate domains and disciplines, it will become a disadvantage when the character will have to deal with his faults. Thus, a character with a high rating in combativeness may be more energetic in a fight, but he will also tend to be impulsive. To have a minor rating in this way leads to a character who is calm, but who may sometimes lack spine.
Mm.
So basically, every stat has a bit of a trade-off that will come in when we start getting into faults and setbacks. Although I think we already passed setbacks because our character is too young to have them.
Mm-hmm. Nothing holding us back.
All right, so one moment. Let me. Basically, you get to distribute ratings of 1, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as you wish. Giving a different rating to each of them. 1 has to be 1, and 1 has to be 5. Is the only thing, and your total has to be 15.
Mm-hmm. I think I kind of already know what I want our 5 to be.
What's that?
I think it's combativeness, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
If we've got a hunter cat, then an argument could be made that if the low end of combativeness is patience, then maybe our cat doesn't necessarily go looking to start fights. They look to finish them, and therefore, like, they may be perceived as weak or spineless, but in reality, they just pick their fights very carefully. They only go into situations they know they have an advantage in.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that could work.
So that's not necessarily a reason to have combativeness low, like all the way down. Like I don't think it should be your 1 because
yeah, no.
the cat do fight sometimes. It is a hunter.
Yeah. So 3 is our neutral, right?
3 is neutral.
Okay. So we can make this a 4 maybe, or do you want to just go ahead and bump this one up to a 5?
What are we looking at?
Combativeness. Unless you have a reason for a different one to be 5.
I don't know. Let me look over these one more time.
Yeah. It's funny enough, I could give a reason for reason being a number 5, you know. Maybe this cat, maybe she's really smart, and like plays her cards right when it comes to dealing with like infestations.
I think the idea of the argument for reason is rationalization, intellect, but also research and reflection, the learning ability of the character, and curiosity. So I think if you want to have like a very curious and cunning cat, then yeah, 5 in the reason thing makes perfect sense.
Okay. We can do that as our 5.
Let's see. Combativeness, you what do you have that at?
I have it set to 3, but we can change that. If
Okay.
need be.
What are your thoughts on creativity?
That's a tough one, because that's the ability to imagine, to give original meaning to one's life, inventiveness, or resourcefulness. I don't typically see cats as very resourceful, though I guess you could make an argument that they are if they use their surroundings correctly.
They could. Just remember, like, for anything that you have low, there's going to be pros and cons to it. So, like,
yeah,
if you want to have your creativity as your 1, then your cat will probably be very dependent on others.
Yeah.
But may also, like, considering that it's clever and curious, may still be capable of some pretty good problem solving on its own.
Yeah. I don't think it should be our 1. I think it could easily be a 2 or 3.
Let's set it for 2 at the moment then.
Okay.
Empathy. I kind of think empathy should be a higher value stat. Simply because, like, again, as a hunter, the cat needs to understand nature and the environment.
Yeah.
And this is... So I kind of think empathy should be a 3 or 4. What do you think?
I fully agree, because I was going to say conviction should be our 1. So if we make it a 4, that adds us up to 15. That gives us a 5 and a 1.
Okay.
So yeah.
I think... and so conviction.
Mhm.
If we're saying that conviction is our lowest stat, then the cat doesn't really have any principles that it lives by.
Nope.
Which kind of makes sense. It's a cat. It works off instinct.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, I think that works. So we've already... your character creation guide kind of already had us go through age and setbacks.
The next thing the creator is taking us to is character traits.
Okay. That skips by the book's section on history. If you want me to just read off history real quick.
Go for it.
It's time to sum up the past of the player character by focusing on their childhood, the main facts of their life, and their ambitions. The player can use this space assigned to that effect on their character sheet. I'm hoping that there is that they do something about that at the end.
I would hope that this gives us like a character sheet to download afterwards.
It does give us a character sheet. I did run through it and test that.
Okay.
I just don't remember at what point it let us set that kind of stuff. But we're kind of following along with it as much as we're following the book, because we kind of have to go through this step by step on this website.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just turn the page and go to step 5, character traits, sanity, and personality.
All right.
This is one thing that I don't like about a lot of horror RPGs, is they just have a straight up sanity stat.
Yeah.
Like, in some cases, it makes a little bit of sense. Like, in this case, you're dealing with eldritch horror, and the idea of eldritch horror is, like, you will literally lose your mind by staring into the eyes of this unknowable being.
Mm-hmm.
But, at the same time, it's, like, not a really great look at mental health.
Yeah, no. Not a very good takeaway.
But anyway, we need, our traits are kind of split up into qualities and flaws. Each character must choose 2 character traits for his player character. One of these traits will be a quality, the other a flaw, and they will be picked from the list below. They are determined according to the ratings in the ways previously chosen. A 5 or 4 in a way gives access to the major rating qualities for that flaws. 1 or 2 gives access to those of a minor rating. So we need to take one of our 4s or 5s and choose either a flaw from the major or minor rating, and then one, we need to choose one that has a major rating, one that has a minor rating, and then choose either a quality that matches the minor rating or a flaw that matches the minor rating, and then a strength. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see. Do we want to go with, what were our, stats again?
Have to go back.
That would be ways.
Yeah. So our stats are combativeness 3, creativity 2, empathy 4, reason 5, and conviction 1.
Alright. So I think it makes the most sense to focus on like our 5 and our 1 for our strengths and flaws. But you don't necessarily have to do like the 1 is the flaw and the 5 is the strength. You could do the bad side of each of those.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, reason is your 5. So the major rating strength, or flaws of that are, abstraction, shut-ins, lives with books, overcautious, irresolute, or you could do a strength based off that, which is thoughtful, ingenious, cautious, logical-minded, or focused. I kind of like, cautious or focused, actually. What do you think?
Yeah, I like those two. I don't know if our cat would be cautious, because based on her ways, she's pretty combative. But there's also the...
I don't know. We're neutral on combativeness, so it could go either way.
That's true.
It's not a major or minor stat. It's just something that it knows how to do.
Gotcha. Does this give us details?
Not really, no. And we could always do an empathy, strength or weakness as well, because we do have a major rating in empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, combativeness is the only one we can't base our traits on.
Oh wow. I don't know. Which one do you think works better, focused or cautious?
I would say focused.
Feel like, yeah, because I feel like this cat knows her role in this little society.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very, focused on, I am the one that takes down the threats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So our flaw will have to be something with conviction.
I think it could still be any of them, but it does just have to be based on, like... Does it say that one has to be a major rating and one has to be a minor rating?
I do not know.
I'm rereading the thing real quick. Any combination is possible.
Okay.
So the flaw and quality may be picked in the same way or in different ways, come from two major or minor ratings, or even a major and a minor one.
Oh, nice.
Um, so it could be conviction because that's our minor thing. But here's what I've got for minor rating: whimsical, inconsistent, unreliable, immoral, or doubting, or treacherous.
Hmm.
I could make an argument for whimsical because it is a cat, and again, just kind of operates mostly off instinct anyway.
Yeah. I will
But
say,
let's take a look at some of the other things that we have. Creativity was the other minor rating, right?
yes.
So the flaws that are associated with having a low creativity are awkward, narrow-minded, aesthetic. I don't know what that word means. Rigid, or yeah, I'm not really sure that fits with a cat.
I think you could make an argument from narrow-minded, but I don't. I don't think that
Yeah.
would work really well.
And let's see. Let's go back to empathy then. Major rating flaws: emotive, pushover, Gabby. The only one that even kind of makes sense is pushover. And I don't think our cat's a pushover.
No.
Okay, let's look at reason again then. The major rating flaws of reason are abstraction, shut in, overcautious, or irresolute. I kind of think that the only things that really make sense are maybe overcautious, or irresolute, or on conviction, the whimsical or inconsistent.
Yeah, I was thinking inconsistent as well. Funny enough, whimsical isn't on this list of flaws that the character creator gets,
Huh.
which is a little upsetting.
Well, I guess inconsistent might be the next best thing then. Or inconstant. Inconsistent and constant kind of have a similar meaning, but whatever.
Yeah, we can do inconstant, because
Okay.
maybe
So then,
maybe she wanders off when she finds a new threat, so kind of there, and then you look over, and then she's not.
yep, it could just be one of those things that like if something else gets its attention, then it might be difficult to get it back on track.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Next step is, according to this, advantages and disadvantages.
All right. Ooh.
Wait, did it skip something?
It says orientation of personality, but it only gives us one choice:
Which is,
rational orientation.
is there anything in here that doesn't? Oh, here's the personality section. A player should now take the time to write a few lines summing up the personality of the character. For that, he can use the space that left to that effect on the back of the character sheet. The player could try to show a goal or a major motivation for his PC. This will help in role-playing them and can be used by the leader for the conception of his scenario. He is also encouraged to give a meaning to the ratings in the ways he has chosen by drawing inspiration from the character traits, for example. So that sounds like kind of when we're writing the cat's lore, we'll come back to that step. We'll circle back around to that.
Yeah.
All right. So advantages and disadvantages. Each character has 100 experience points at his disposal at the start of the game, which allow him to improve some skills or buy advantages. They represent what he has lived through until now, independently from the aspects mentioned before. The player character can increase... Wait, I'm missing something. Independently from aspects mentioned beforehand, such as the profession or the social origin, or his innate characteristic. The PC can increase this amount of points by taking disadvantages, but that's not mandatory.
Okay.
So basically, if you take a whole bunch of disadvantages, you can afford more advantages, but you're not really required to take either. You just have 100 points you can spend on advantages right now.
Gotcha. Ooh. There's already a couple here that I'm looking at for advantages that would work real well, and a disadvantage that I think would also work.
Are you talking about good sight and keen hearing?
Yes. Also, survival instinct, keen smell is one as well. And then one of the disadvantages is a phobia.
All right.
Like maybe our cat is afraid of like larger rodents. Like I don't know, say a fat skunk came along. Maybe she needs some help to take it down. Or an ally of some kind.
Okay. I think go ahead and mark the advantages you want, and see how many points like you have left over, if any. If you don't have enough points, then yeah, we'll take the phobia disadvantage. Actually, it might just be fun to take the phobia disadvantage anyway.
Keen hearing, survival instinct, keen smell. What was the other one we were looking at?
What do you have again?
I have keen hearing, keen smell, and survival.
Good sight.
Good health.
Maybe they don't have it listed on your character generator.
Maybe not.
Is there anything about sight, or what about nimble?
I was about to say
nimble.
Yeah, nimble could be good. That puts us down to 0 XP.
Okay. Go ahead and add the phobia thing in, and that should give you another 40, it looks like. So, if you want to add another advantage, we can see if we can afford it.
Good health gives us 40 XP. We have enough to get. We could also get quick.
Basically, that gives you one more box in the... You can have one more bad health condition if you have good health. But you could also save the points, because I think it says there's another way to spend them.
Yes, it does say you can use them later on.
Okay. So if you want to save those points and use them later on, we could do that as well. Or you could take another disadvantage and give yourself good health.
Let's save them.
Okay.
All right. Our next step is sanity.
Oh, we're moving back in the book for that one. Okay. So, Sanity and Shadow of Esteren. Before proceeding with the step of creation, the leader and players are strongly advised to read the chapter dealing with how to manage and make use of sanity. Only informed and experienced players should use these rules. Should you decide not to use them, skip directly to step 9 of the character creation. So there's an option not to use them, which I think is good. Does it let you skip this step?
It does not. We can pick one and then just nix it at the end.
Okay. So what is it having you pick from? Consciousness, instinct, or instinct, consciousness, trauma? What are your... I can't see your options.
None of those are on here. I have elation, hallucination, mimicry, obsession, hysteria, mysticism, or paranoia.
Oh, that's the disorder.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think we should just pick one and then nix it at the end.
Yeah, I'll just pick elation. It's the first one on the list.
Okay. Now on to... I've got potential defense, speed, and stamina. You're at domains. 1 second. Let me see where that's at. Survival points. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna go back to my table of contents here. Age, setbacks. I don't really see what domains are supposed to do. Oh yeah, it's also a thing in this world that any character that reaches, in order to become a fully fledged citizen, has to serve in the military. This is a cat, so I think they are technically not bound to this. So I don't know. I don't see what primary and secondary domains is supposed to be referencing.
I don't know.
1 second. Let me see if there's just anything that I've missed here in the... It doesn't look like it. I wonder if this is something that's part of one of the expansions.
Maybe.
Because there's a companion book and 2 expansions. So if the domains are something from the occultism book, or I forget what the book 3 is called. But if it's from those, then we wouldn't have that, because I don't have that book.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just gonna have to go based off what the generator here says. So it says choose primary and secondary domains for your character. You must select 2 1 and 2 stars, 1 3, and 1 5.
And it's already given us our 5 star, and I think our 3 star has to be close combat.
Okay. So let's see. I think stealth might be good for a 2 star.
I was thinking the same thing.
And then
maybe perception as our other 2 star.
Perception would be a good.
Then let's see, what can our 1
performance
and
travel?
Yeah, I think that works. Okay. We done military service.
Did that change anything, or?
Thinks it says if not, choose the skill domain you have trained into instead by clicking the...
Oh, so that's what that thing is for. Go ahead. Let's see. Natural environment is already our best thing, it looks like.
So might as well just select that.
Yeah.
Okay. Improving domains. You can spend experience points to add bonuses to your domain. 10 XP. This is where other XP comes in.
Okay.
In the following steps, you'll be able to choose disciplines from 20 to 25 XP, as well as fighting arts if you have at least 5 included.
No, see, that's actually part of the character creation process, if you want to go with that.
Okay. So we have 40 XP. We could increase any of our things. So we have quite a few zeros, but I think the zeros make sense.
Yeah.
Cat wouldn't really deal in prayer or science or occultism. Well, unless your cat's kind of freaky.
I think, again, the domains aren't really part of the character creation guide of the book. I'm guessing they are either like something that's usually done later in the game, like after you've started playing, or an add-on in either the book 3 or the occultism book.
Okay, luckily this one lets us skip it, so we can skip this.
I think we should skip this step and move on to
bonuses to the domain.
Disciplines, which I think, oh no, I saw something about disciplines, I think. Maybe not.
Yeah, this one also has to deal with domains. So it says you can choose a discipline for every domain in which you have a score of 5 and which are part of your primary and secondary.
Okay, so for us that was natural environment, right?
Yep.
I think you could make an argument for putting all your bonus points into fauna and flora.
Good.
That takes experience points.
Experience.
Let's survival would be good.
Yep, survival, tracking.
Survival must take 2.
Let me use that. Okay, yeah.
Or tracking takes 2, one or the other.
Oh, it's not letting me choose both.
Huh.
Oh, you can get a maximum of 2 disciplines.
Oh, okay. So let's just move on to the next one then. Hopefully then we'll be back on track. Equipment. No, we're still skipping things. Okay.
Yeah, weird.
Wait, go back, because there's something about, it looks like it skipped fighting arts.
Oh, it did. There's nothing here.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah.
Because see, that's actually part of the book, but...
Man, this thing, this creator is just skipping over everything.
Anyway, we've got, we're on to equipment, it looks like here. You can add a few items to your inventory, don't be greedy.
Well, we can't really use equipment because of one of our rules.
Well, if there's some equipment that would work if comically downsized for a cat, then the cat can use it. It's just if it would be physically impossible for the cat to use, they can't use it.
Gotcha. So let's see. Got dagger, a sling, javelin, bow, crossbow, Francisca.
I think that's the type of sword.
Probably. Short spear, club, craftsman hammer, mace, careth, battle axe, Osag straight-bladed longsword, continental gladius, polearm, long spear, two-handed hammer, claymore, short sword, long sword, short bow, and staff.
I don't know. Do you want our cat to have a knife?
Our cat could hold a knife in its mouth.
They could.
Maybe that's how it's so good at killing things.
Maybe. I don't think we could give it I don't think we could make an argument for armor or shield. Well, maybe armor. You could size armor for a cat.
Yeah. Maybe we could give him a leather tunic or her.
Okay. Yeah, we can give her a leather tunic and a dagger. Why not?
All right.
Just a very tiny version of that one Dark Souls boss.
Yeah.
Except instead of a dog, it's a cat.
Oh man, when are they gonna add that to Dark Souls, huh?
Just a very tiny boss that's just a cat with a sword.
Its hitbox is so small you can't even touch it.
Gotta use area of effect magic spells, or you die.
Alright, so after equipment, here we go. We get to description and story. We already know our gender.
Female. Description. I think if we're saying this is a mountain cat, it might make sense for it to be a gray cat.
Yeah. Blend into the environment a little more. Like we do like a gray tabby cat.
Yeah, that works.
What is our cat's name?
This is always fun. Do we want to just give it a strong OSAG name?
Yeah. I feel like this cat would be regarded as like a warrior in this little clan of people. Otherwise, why would they give her armor and a dagger? We could pull out the trusty warrior cats generator.
I'm seeing if there's a Shadows of Esteren name generator.
Good idea.
That's not in French. Oh, here's a piece of advice. Names in Shadows of Esteren are based on Celtic names.
Mm,
So if we did a Celtic cat name, which is basically Irish cats.
gotcha. I found a Celtic name generator.
Okay, some of these are just offensive. They've got like Clover, Blarney, Dublin, Finnegan.
Uh,
Did I see that Fiona was an option?
I think so, yeah. Fiona. Got Elspeth Fanini. I was trying to find one that meant like fighter, ready, swift. Amher Wani. Probably butchering these names.
I've got a proposal. It would be mean to the cat, but Mossack Quigley, which means hairy unkempt.
Okay. How do you spell that?
Well, do you actually want to go with that, or
Maybe. I think what was the full name? Is Mossack what?
1 second. It's Mossack Quigley, which is Mossach, and then Quigley is Quigley.
I don't know how I feel about Mossack. I do like Quigley though. I think Quigley is a good.
Well, I mean, how many cats do you know with last names? Let's just do Quigley.
Okay.
Which probably, if it's named the unkempt, then probably part of its physical description is that it has like matted fur or something.
Oh yeah, that's how you spell matted. Is it Matted or is it Madd?
I think you got it right. If
Yeah.
matted, okay, that's fine then. And then the story. I think for story, it would be good if we came up with, first off, we need the cat's lore, the backstory, and then why are they now adventuring?
Right. So backstory. I mean, her cat's only. You say her cat's name or cat's age was like 5.
Yeah.
Grew up on a farm. Obvious
Mm-hmm.
points where we can base things on. Hunter of rodents.
All right.
What else we?
Those are really the only two kind of things that we actually came up with so far.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a horror environment, right?
Mhm.
I think it would make sense to have like a little bit of tragedy in the cat's life, and maybe it's maybe the actual like owner of the farm it works on, hunting the rats and whatnot, was killed traveling somewhere with the cat, and like the cat decided to tag along, was there when the owner was killed, and then it was rescued by adventurers.
I think that's really good. I was thinking something similar of like they're traveling and or like their owner died. But yeah, Quigley was raised on rodents and other pests to keep crops safe. I can't speak as fast as I can't type as fast as
I don't know, many who can.
Are they just adventuring? Are they taking like delivering crops to other towns? Maybe.
The occupation is not necessarily something you have to like stick to. Like if you're a scientist who's playing, or a magiantist, sorry, who's playing, then you are probably not spending the entire game up in your lab. You are, for some reason, having to go out into the field.
Yeah.
And the field is not safe.
No. One day she was with her owner, attacked by a beast, horrifying beast. Got to add some called adjectives in there.
Okay.
Owner died tragically, and she was found by a group of adventurers. Do you think we need more than that?
I don't think we do. I think that's good enough for a cat.
I think so too. Player's name, people can fill that in. They do so decide. Highlights. I don't think we need highlights. Not much to highlight.
Not yet, anyway.
Next,
y'all can take notes about your adventures in the highlights section.
All right.
And is that it?
Yep, that is it. We can finalize the character.
I think all 3 of those are the sheet.
Oh, that you need. Yeah, they all look pretty different.
Okay. Now, I am just going to go through this because there is, like, a lot of this that it seems to have skipped, or, at the very least, called something else in here, which has been a little confusing. But, like, so we've got potential, defense, speed, and stamina. Potential is a rating that will be used during the fighting phases. It represents the investment ability of a character in a given fighting attitude. The creativity of a PC gives the value of his potential. Actually, like this, a lot of this part, the generator may have skipped over simply because it's just calculating stats. But let's just go through and open up the character sheet to page 1, and let's make sure we understand why our stats are this way.
Okay.
So first off, or maybe it's not page 1. Let me pull up the book has like a sample character sheet in the back somewhere. At least I thought it did. One second, I might need to pull up the actual PDF of the character sheet that I have that's not form fillable, tragically.
Yeah.
Okay, so, nope, here's the thing. The official character sheet also talks about domains and disciplines, but that is in no way any part of the character creation process described in this book.
Absolutely wild.
So there must be something like I'm missing somewhere in here, but I don't know what that is. But anyway, let's just go through and talk about some of this stuff. During a fight, like defense. During a fight, everybody has the ability to defend themselves. The defense rating is related to several qualities: the fighter's ability to analyze the situation, some degree of carefulness, and also his knack for anticipating the actions of his opponents. This rating is used as a difficulty threshold to determine if an attack succeeds. Is that just talking about rolling to defend?
I think so.
Because it kind of sounds like it's just talking about rolling to defend.
Yeah.
Then stamina. Every player has a basic rating of 10 in stamina. Speed. To know the initial speed rating of a character, make the following addition: way of combativeness plus way of empathy. So it probably tells you like your fighting potential is for you 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be on page 2 of the character sheet.
Fighting. Yeah.
Under weapons.
Yes. Potential 2.
Okay. So that makes sense because you have a 3 in combativeness.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's creativity, which you have a 4 in.
Yes.
Or wait,
creativity is 2. Combativeness is...
Okay. So from 2 to 4, the character has 2 potential points. Is the points.
Okay.
Anyway, we've already talked about stamina, fighting attitudes, and attack ratings. So there are different attitudes when you are doing an attack. There's the standard attitude, not particularly being aggressive or defensive. You fight in a balanced way. The potential is not used. Attack, defense, and speed are indicated as they are. Offensive attitude: by counting on an overwhelming attack, the player will tend to take more risk. The potential is added to attack and subtracted from defense. So when you're doing an attack roll, then you would add a +2 basically to your attack, and when you have to defend, you will subtract 2 from your defense. And then the exact opposite will happen for the defensive attitude. You'd take 2 away from attack, add 2 to defense.
I'm looking at this character sheet, and it looks so in depth. Like, there are like a million things to keep track of, which is very cool. I do like games with in depth combat.
Yeah, it's very in depth on a lot of this stuff. There's also the quick attack style, which is you count on acting first, even at the cost of risk. Potential is added to speed and deducted from defense. This basically boosts your speed, but if someone else is faster than you, they will still move first.
Just like Pokemon.
Yep. Exactly like Pokemon. Down to the Eldritch Horror element and the sanity stat.
I think sanity... Is that not page 3?
I don't know. We skipped over sanity because we said we were going to nix that anyway, so...
Yeah. I know it's listed on here somewhere, but you're using this. Or you can use it and change it. To do.
Yep.
I'm not your boss. I don't know why you're listening to me.
Then there's something called survival points, but that's set to 3 by default. I think you boosted your survival.
I believe we did.
When you were deciding your advantages.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's character creation. It I am blown away by the fact that domains is literally never once mentioned, but it is obviously a big part of determining your character's capacity.
Oh yeah. I was very confused by that. But also I guess that's what we get for using a character creator tool and not having like a fillable sheet. So
Yeah.
if anyone out there wants to make a fillable sheet for this game,
There's
please.
probably already a fillable like community made thing somewhere, but I never found it. At least not
Uh,
in English.
yeah. The,
I'm going through here real quick just to see if there's anything later on in the book about domains.
yeah. Anything we
I'm
made.
not I'm not seeing it.
Hmm.
Like it's obviously part of the character sheet. The official character sheet released with Shadows of Esteren, but I don't see anything about it.
Huh. That is odd. But it might be one of those things that's like up to player interpretation maybe.
That could be.
Uh,
And if someone knows exactly where in the book it talks about domains, feel free to at me, because I would actually love to play a game of this at some point, even if it's just a one shot. Um, and I want to make sure that I'm setting things up correctly for my players when
yeah.
that happens. But anyway, I think that's the whole deal. That's character creation.
We've made yet another cat.
Yep. This one was a little weird. I think in the future it will be best if we can have the PDFs on hand, or at the very least have the core book where we can both read it.
Yeah. That was the other issue we ran into with this one.
Yeah, it's not like D&D. Not everything can be like D&D where they have like the descriptive um character creator thing built into the website and officially maintained by the company producing the game. Not everyone can afford to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah. But sometimes those, you never know the true potential of a game until you play it or check it out at least.
Yep. See, one thing I love about like Powered by the Apocalypse games though is they're often simple enough that character creation is explained by your character sheet. So we'll have to do a few more Powered by the Apocalypse games. So far we've just done the one, which was City of Mist, and City of Mist did not have a self-explanatory character creation system.
No, we spent a long time on that. I don't know if how much that episode is getting cut down or, staying the same, but if it comes out before this and you have listened to it, I'm sure it was a nice bonus length episode.
Oh yeah. If when we have more guests on, I said if when we have more guests on,
Mhm.
we will not be creating two characters again. That could have been done in an hour, I think,
Oh
if we had
yeah.
actually just focused on the one cat instead of giving him a partner.
Yeah. Um it
Like, don't get me wrong, the partner was a cool addition, but the recording session was 3 hours.
Yeah, it was way longer than our usual session. Um but I think it was fun nonetheless, but yes, definitely just going to stick to cats from now on.
Yep. If anyone else comes on, hopefully it will be because they are providing us with a game that we do not have and walking us through the process. Or if they would really like to learn, then we will just, I guess, make the character by committee
Yeah.
as we all stumble through a new system.
Mhm.
Anyway, Austin, do you have anything to promote this week?
Same as always, I'm going to promote my Twitch, uh, Avalon at Avalon Alchemist. Same thing with Twitter. If you want to follow me, see me be goofy on there. Same thing, Avalon Alchemist. I will also put this week. I have a TikTok that I use very sparingly, but I do use it. Same name. So if you want to see the weird shenanigans I post on there, feel free to. And if not, that's your prerogative.
Sounds like fun. As for me, you can find most of my links at jholland.start.page. I will mention we have we have a Twitter page for this. We've actually had it all along, I've just not mentioned it previously. I don't think I have anyway, because reasons. But it's Literal Cat Pod. You can follow us on Twitter at Literal Cat Pod. Probably by time this comes out, I will also have a Tumblr page. I'm not doing Facebook again. Facebook is just a bottomless pit with no reward.
Yeah, sadly, but it's the world we live in now.
Yeah, it's kind of like Twitch in that if you've already got a community on there, you're good. But if you don't, it's impossible to build one, and they're making it harder all the time.
That is true. Let me tell you, it is hard to get people to find me on Twitch when I am playing indie games, because nobody really looks by game tag.
No, Discovery on Twitch is a joke, but that's not really. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about cats.
Speaking of cats, and something we probably should have done before plugging. How many rules did we break, Joel?
Let's see. This may not be a complete list. We'll have to kind of determine that. But first off, the setting assumed that we were playing as a human. We did not do that. Then, based on the assumption that we were playing as a human, it gave us a human ethnicity, which we also ignored.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I'm going to count that as a rule broken, but technically it might not be, simply because we are playing in the OSAG, or the OSAG, however you say that, in their, like, region of the world. Like, your friends and family, your human friends and family as a cat would have been OSAG.
Yeah.
Because that's just the region of the world you grew up in. Thirdly, every character is supposed to have served in the military by time they are 15, and you're not really supposed to be a player character until you're 16. Cats don't live that long, so technically we broke the age rule.
Mm-hmm. We broke the age rule along with the military rule, so you can count that as 1, you can count that as 2, whatever.
Now, we didn't technically break the military rule because we are not necessarily going to live long enough to do military service.
That is true. You think they would force a cat to do military service if it lived that long?
You know,
it
really depends on their attitudes towards the cat, I think.
Yeah.
Because, like, everything in this book is built around the idea of a human society. There's not, like, fantasy races or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think that they would acknowledge a cat, even a very intelligent one, as a citizen. And if they're not a citizen, they don't have to serve in the military.
Fair. Okay, so that's 3 rules broken then, at least. I'm sure there's other ones that we broke that we can't really account for.
There are probably plenty, since we, like, didn't really understand how the, what are they called, domains worked.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And then if you want, you could say that we broke a rule by throwing out the optional, sanity thing, but that was not required for us to do in the first place, so.
Yeah, that one's up to your, game master, or whatever the term is for Shadows of Esteren.
I think it's leader.
Leader, yeah. I know you had said it at one point, but I forgot what it was.
Yep. They say it all the time throughout character creation. It is, I'm pretty sure it's leader.
All right.
But anyway, thank you all for listening, and tune in next time. Austin, do you have a cat pun for us this week?
I do. I've been ruminating on this one the whole episode.
Boy.
But I've got a new one. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope that you have a meowvelous day.
I hate it. Thank you very much.
You are so welcome.
Thank you for listening to one of our first recordings of how to make a literal cat in your favorite RPG. These episodes were recorded before we had certain information nailed down, so some of it might be missing or inaccurate. Under normal circumstances, we try and discuss this information in episode, but for the record, Joel Holland, me, is on social media and publishing sites with the username Denala Lioge. I understand that you might not guess how to spell or pronounce that, so you can go to jholland.start.page, linked in the show notes, to access all of those links at once. Austin Irwin has recently changed his username on most social media sites from Redhead Warlock to Avalon Alchemist. He's active on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok under the new name. If you have a specific type of cat you'd like to see, you can email us at literalcatpod@gmail.com to recommend games, suggest character concepts and prompts, or to request collaborations, guest spots, or other business inquiries. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at literalcatpod to receive updates, ask questions, and of course don't forget to leave a review on the listening service of your choice. If you want us to see it though, I highly recommend leaving your review on Podchaser. Finally, you can grab all the character sheets at bit.ly/literalcatpod. Following that link will take you to a Dropbox folder containing every character sheet from every episode. Once again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.